The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Pollard streaks in. Touchdown. Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Nick Harris, John Machota, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Talkin Tuesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Give us your phone calls, 888-855-2297. Send us a text message.
Do it.
On the Talkin Cowboys podcast text line.
Do it now.
817-290-3298. We will be talking to Cowboys Nation all day.
All day? Let's go. Get on the lines, man. We want to talk to you people.
There you go.
Yeah, we got JM in the building today.
JM, we need like the air horn. Just in the back.
I like that.
What's up, John?
What's going on?
Listening to Little Jerry this morning.
Listen to Little Jerry. He went for about 17, 18 minutes
Yes,
there,
he
maybe
did.
even longer. There was a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty impressed with how they played on Sunday. I know you guys already discussed it, but yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts.
I didn't expect it to be that lopsided.
No.
I mean,
I didn't either.
I felt like Bill Belichick would have something in his bag for them. And I looked at that early second quarter as boxing, UFC, whatever you're into fight where looked like, Cowboys had a little bit of an edge. And then there was Jalen Tolbert hit on the punt return. And then they come back and, get the Dante Fowler sack fumble. And then they go for two. And in that little space of time, it just reminded me of a fight where this guy gets dinged up pretty good. And you're just like, yeah, there's more left to this fight. But that guy's definitely hurting right now. And it's going to be tough for them to come back. And they were going to have something in their bag to come back from. And I don't know if there is anything in Mac Jones's bag to come back from something like that against that defense. If they were playing against a different team, maybe. But against that defense and how fired up that defense was and how they played like we expect them to play from the very beginning, that was really impressive. So huge answer because of the fact of, man, can you imagine going in this game at 2-2 if they would have lost that game? It would have been so bad. So to respond with that type of an effort, I thought that was pretty impressive. So it sets you up to where this game, this game was always going to mean a lot, but it makes you feel a little bit more like, okay, they're back into being in maybe that same conversation with the 49ers, but I don't know. I'm more intrigued in seeing that game now than I was if, let's say, that would have been a close game against the Patriots or they lost to the Patriots. I would have had, like I said last week, I had them a little bit lower on the rung. I still have San Francisco at the top. I do think that they would be the favorite right now to win the NFC, and this will be a great test. And I'm not nearly as concerned about the red zone issues I think everybody else is. Just because of how sloppy, or not sloppy, but how just the style of those first 4 games, even the 3 wins, it wasn't like you really needed the offense to put up some big numbers. So this will be the real test, this Niners game, of where this offense is. You'll be 5 games into the season. If you have some major issues there, then we'll see. We can talk more about that, obviously. But what a great test this is going to be, just because of the fact of this offense is really the reason they've lost to the Niners the last 2 times in the playoffs. The defense did enough. The offense, they needed more from them. And so with Mike McCarthy calling plays and some different pieces on offense, how different will this be? Or will it be the same as it's been against the Niners? Are they still a rung higher? So,
yeah, I think even Jerry Jones talked about it a little bit this morning, saying that he would put the Niners at the top of the list of favorites to go to the NFC or go to the Super Bowl, rather, out of the NFC. And I mean, this game itself probably doesn't have the same amount of draw as it would if both teams were 4-0, but 4-0 and 3-1, there's still going to be plenty of eyes on this game. I think everyone will be watching this one.
Everybody and their mama.
Yeah. This is that test, and we've talked about it plenty. I mean, we were talking about it week 1. They blew out the Giants 40-0, and John was ready to hit the Madden Sim 2 week 5 mode. Like
I always was. I never changed with these other games.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the players should have been that way. I'm not saying you guys should have been that way.
Sure.
I'm saying for me.
But John wants to see him against
I've
the
seen
49ers.
enough over the last 10, 15 years, I want to see how they stack up against the Niners. That still will tell me. That'll tell me way more than any of these first 4 games will.
Yeah. What are some news and notes from today, Nick Harris?
Well, you took one of mine saying
What's that?
Jerry said this morning that he felt like San Francisco was the favorite. I don't really know if he was saying it as if he felt that way or if he was just talking about the general public and the betting odds and all those things. Either way, I thought it was just an interesting comment to make at that certain point.
I thought, at least in initial listening, I thought he said that he thinks they're the favorite. Like, that's his opinion.
Whole NFL, he said he thinks they're the favorite right now to
In
win,
the whole
win the
NFL.
Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What, to win?
To win the Super Bowl, yeah. And
I thought he said make it.
No. And they are in Vegas right now, too.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they are the betting odds.
I mean,
favorites.
you got the Chiefs, opening the season, losing the Lions, messing around with the Jets. I mean, they would be the clear AFC favorite.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm talking
Isaiah's sitting here shaking his head.
I'm talking about Vegas.
You don't like Vegas?
Nobody cares. I mean, the first players.
Vegas knows something.
The players don't care.
Vegas always knows something.
I was about to say,
whether
people
the players care or
definitely
not.
care.
The players don't care who's projected to be in the
That's true.
Super. Like I'm just telling you
true.
from our perspective, we don't give a doggone. We know it's a tough team, and that's all that matters.
Say it with
And
your
they beat
chest.
you the last few times. So
Don't say doggone. Say
doggone
with
it.
your
No, I
chest.
can't say it with my chest all the way, Kyle. But no, I mean that's from the player's perspective. Like I said yesterday, this is get back. These last few times you played these guys,
Yeah.
they have knocked you out the playoffs.
So they
Period,
care about
point
that.
blank. That's it. It's disrespect. And, they walked up in your house a couple years ago, and they walked in with a little boom box, and they sent you on your little merry way, right? And then today, I mean not today, but last year, they sent your butt home again. It was just like this is for respect. This is for respect.
And it's not like either game were blowouts. I mean, it comes down to right to the end. Your offense in both games had chances to win that game and couldn't get it done. Now, last year, obviously, they didn't have Tony Pollard. I think that game might have been different had they had Tony Pollard in the second half. So maybe that was a factor. Maybe they have the answers. Maybe Mike McCarthy calling the plays will make the difference. We will see. But I have my doubts about it becoming a defense like on the Cowboys defense. I think it's one of those things. If the offense shows up and they answer in the red zone, I think the Cowboys got a great chance of winning this game.
So in terms of the red zone, everybody keeps talking about the red zone, right? And I know you say you're not that concerned about it. I'm not that concerned about it either. However, like at the end of the day, Coach McCarthy, I was telling some of my business partner actually this. He was like, man, we got to figure out this red zone thing. I'm like, no, that's how he talks to. You got to figure out
Where's he
this red
from?
zone thing.
Louisiana?
No, he's from Houston, actually.
Wait, which one of these?
Jared.
Oh, it is. As soon as you said it, I was like, is that Jared?
Hey, we struggling in the red zone, Dad.
I'm like,
I love
nah. I
Jared.
said, no, we're good.
He's the best.
Listen, Coach McCarthy can only call the plays, right? He's calling their proper plays against the defenses that are being present, right? He's guessing right? It's a guessing game. You call a play based upon what the analytics say the defense is going to present, right? Based upon down the distance, personnel groupings, all that stuff, right? It's literally a mind game, right? Back and forth. It's chess. So he's calling the proper plays. Think about how many drops there has been in the end zone.
At least 2 that I can think of. Schoonmaker this week and Hendershot.
Ferg,
further.
Right, I think Ferg had a drop too.
There's some things that,
right?
like that
There's
have
been-
happened in the red zone, though, that make me think that it's not just us talking about it. They're talking about it in there.
Yeah, but they're
they're
drops.
definitely
But these are drops. They're not like you're struggling to get guys open.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? These are like just dropped opportunities because had those been touchdowns the way they should have been,
Yeah.
had
Then
players,
it's a different story.
Then they're not even talking about the red zone.
But how many
Yeah.
drops have there been from Brandon Cooks? He hasn't even seen a target yet in the
Yeah,
red
I
zone.
mean,
Michael Gallup had the one where it was PI, but then it was picked up.
They
And
need to go back
that
and
was-
watch the pregame show from last
I'm
week.
just
Kyle.
saying.
We broke it down.
There's
I'm just
things,
saying.
there's elements that are missing of this offense in the red zone.
Yes.
That's no doubt. Is it as big of an issue as it has been, at least in the media and across Cowboys Nation? Probably not, but if it rears its head like it did against Arizona, then it is an issue. And that's where I have it. You haven't needed it in 3 of the 4 games you've played so far.
Yeah.
It's been a
No, you'll need it in this
relatively
one.
non-issue. You're going to need it against San
No,
Francisco.
you're going to need to convert. You're going to need to actually deliver. I don't think that I don't think that Coach McCarthy's struggling to come up with great concepts in the red zone. And I think that's really the
I don't think that either.
Yeah, but I think that's the narrative going around right now, right? People are saying, oh, the red zone struggles.
Yeah.
Are they really
That
struggles?
is a narrative, and I disagree too.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly disagree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I watch a fair amount of film. Like in the beginning, I'm like, okay, first game, second game, okay, you got to figure this out. When I say figure this out, I mean actually take care of your assignments as players. Execute, right? Make the catches. You can't afford to drop balls in the red zone. You just can't. You work too hard to get down there. You have 80 snaps per game, right? Well, I think we're averaging like 75, right? It was maybe 50-something, 60-something, 80-something, and then 70-something again, right?
Yep.
Somewhere around there. Anyway, so you're averaging around 75 plays a game. You just got to convert. In 3 touchdowns that I can think off the top of my head have been dropped. 3 touchdowns.
And you could throw in the Pollard carry on Sunday as basically like in that same category, just because Pollard went the wrong way. If he goes the right way, he walks in untouched.
Walks in. So I mean, so again, it's not.
So you don't think that's in their head?
It's not a McCarthy thing
at all. You don't think that's anything that's in their head?
I think they notice when they're inside the 20. I'll say that.
Too.
I think they notice it a little bit more than they did week 1. Does that affect their play? I don't know. I'm not in that moment. I'm not the guy who has the brain in that moment. But I think inside the 20, they're looking around. Okay, we got to score here, and I think there's a little bit more urgency in that.
And there will be for this game too, because of the fact that this is one of those games when you watch it, like you've watched the Patriots for so many years when they were in their dynasty era, where you're a team trying to knock them off, and your team gets in the red zone and they settle for a field goal. You're like, yeah, that's not going to get it done. And that's how I feel about this game. Minimum 3 touchdowns. Cowboys have to score at least 3 touchdowns to win this game. They will not get it done with just 2 touchdowns. They have to score. So when they're in the red, they have to capitalize in this game.
I just want to squash the narrative that.
That they don't have
coming
the right
from the
scheme.
schemes. That's what it feels like. Like people aren't saying, "Oh, we're not finishing plays. We're not making the catches." That's not the conversation. The conversation is, "Oh my gosh, they're just struggling in the red zone." That's false. That's false.
It's interesting. One of the best points I thought you brought up, just from like a player's perspective during the game, when you and I were watching in the studio with Barry and Nate, and you said Bill O'Brien right now is losing his mind on the sideline because he's calling the right plays. There's separation, there's openings, and just lack of execution. Yeah. But at some point, the lack of execution has to fall back on the coaching staff too. At some point, right?
No, not all the time. Not all the time. I mean.
Did you watch the game last night?
Yeah, you watched the game last night. You know, Dabo's losing his mind.
Yeah, he was literally losing his mind.
Look at him. It's on TV right now. We're watching it right now. I mean, there's only so much you can do as a coach. Listen, the players have to prepare, right? The players have to prepare mentally. And they have to prepare physically, right? Physically, it's their job to get themselves ready. There's a whole strength and conditioning staff that is there in place, okay? Aside from that, they have the dietitian staff in place, okay? So they have a responsibility to get themselves physically ready. Get your rest, get your nutrition, get your weights in, right? Get your conditioning. That's their responsibility as players. On the mental side of it, their job is to receive the coaching. Right? So the coaches has to get them ready. So the coaches are sitting in there with the scouting department. They're sitting in there with all the analytics. They're doing their film breakdown. They're doing their strategy. They're creating all these different schemes and game plans. And they're drawing up 150 plays a game, whatever it might be. And they're handing that down. And now they're teaching the players. Right? So their job is to simply get their minds right. That's all the coaches can control. Get your mind right. Take the mental. Make sure you relay that down to the players, and then let's take it to the practice field and make sure that we feel comfortable running these things, right? We're going to take what we worked on mentally, right? We're going to apply it physically, and then we have to convert that to the game. But from the coach's perspective, all they can do is make the proper predictions. That's all they can do, right? Nick, I think you're going to call this on defense. So guess what? As Coach McCarthy, when we line up in 11 personnel on the 20-yard line, I'm calling this play because it says, analytics say 67% of the time you're in this coverage. And if you're in this coverage, this is the play that I'm calling because I feel good about it. There it is. We got it. Got the coverage, got the play, got the snap, drop ball. I can't control that. That's when I look at the players and say, Kyle, catch the doggone ball.
But it's frustrating,
let's see another day.
I understand how it would be frustrating if you're a coach, for example, using the one that we were just mentioning over our shoulder here. If you're Brian Daboll and that doesn't work out for you, that can be your job.
Absolutely.
And you can have the best play calls,
yes.
But you went to a situation where your quarterback's getting 4 years, 160. Yeah. It's your job to fix it.
Absolutely.
You know? And so that's the part where like I see some of the frustration there, and you kind of understand.
Because personnel comes into it, right?
Yeah.
Because personnel comes into it, and the thing is, Dallas doesn't have a problem with personnel. Dallas just has a problem with execution right now in that part of the field. That's just
also real quick. It is pretty interesting that, and it speaks to how good the Cowboys are, is that everybody has focused on that one thing, and let's be honest, if there was something else, there would be focus on that.
Yeah.
If the red zone was great, there'd be focus on
everybody's nitpicking.
Yeah, exactly. Because the fact of, like, you just go back to training camp, you would have thought for sure that at this point in the season, we would have had at least a couple games where we're like, yeah, I don't know if that not signing a kicker until late was a great idea. You know, like there's just so many like little things that have happened that outside of red zone, it's obviously the offensive line health.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. Everything else has been outstanding.
Facts.
And that speaks to, because I feel like we're not doing this show 5 days a week to sit there and not bring up anything that might be bothering a team. I'm sure they're doing that in San Francisco. I don't really know if there are any weaknesses there, but there are very few teams that just sit there and go, yeah, man, everything's rolling, And I don't know if there are any that even say that.
The only concerns that I've had this year, right? It hasn't been the red zone. I just know guys just aren't converting. It's been the interior line on both sides of the ball and controlling the line of scrimmage. That was my biggest fear going against New England. That's why I thought New England was going to win the game, honestly, before knowing that Zach Martin and Tyler Biadasz were going to be active, right? My mindset was, hey, it's going to be rough. Right, they have some big boys up front. They do a great job controlling the line of scrimmage. They're disciplined, right? That was my mindset going into it. Well, we get 2 of our 3 guys back, starters back, and they go out there and control the line of scrimmage. As long as this team can control and at least have it even around the line of scrimmage, they're always going to be in a good position to win ball games.
I do wonder. I'm not saying that the Cowboys still wouldn't have won, but I do wonder if Christian Gonzalez doesn't get hurt, the impact that has. I do still think the Cowboys win. I just don't know if it's necessarily.
They lost their 2 best players on defense.
Arguably, their 3. I mean, Peppers went down too because they had Judon down for a significant amount of time. Looks like a bicep
tear. He tore his bicep, and Gonzalez tore his labor.
Dislocated.
And I'm telling you, I always go back to that, to 2 years ago when the Cowboys lost to the Niners in that playoff game. I always go back to the fact that they were at home, they had a chance to go down there and score. I'm talking with like a few minutes ago, not that last series. And they didn't have Fred Warner out there, and they didn't have Nick Bosa. It's like, man, that's exactly what you'd want. That should be. But to the 49ers' credit, they've built this thing there that is just so like that it's at so many different levels, whether you're talking about the receivers blocking down the field or just how they next man up on defense with, guys that aren't all first round picks and things like that. Like, it is pretty wild how they've been able to overcome some of those big injuries and big moments like that.
Yeah, there's so many elements, so many storylines to this game. All week long, I feel like the energy level is just higher. It's heightened in this building because everybody knows what's at stake on Sunday night. And not only just another game in the regular season, there's a lot of pride at stake between these 2 organizations. All right, when we come back, we're going to hit the podcast text line, 817-290-3298. You can also give us a call, 888-855-2297. Already have some great questions lined up. We're going to hit that. Coming back right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle Coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, a super trusted superfood. Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
I love them oats. I love them oats, but I do. I love oats. I am a Quaker Oats guy.
Are you?
Ever since I was
just
little.
waiting. I knew you wanted to kind of put it in there.
Well, did you know? Okay,
At least
this
once
is
a
a
week.
fun fact. Okay, so the Quaker Oats. So you guys know when you get the box and it has like the little single packs. Mm-hmm. Did you know? Okay, fun fact that after you pour your oats into the bowl, all right, that the actual little shaker bag, little container, if you fill that up to the line, that's the proper amount of water that you're supposed to use in your oatmeal.
I thought everyone knew that. Is that everyone?
Yeah,
thing?
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I don't eat oatmeal though, so I wouldn't know anything about it.
You gotta get your oats, John.
You gotta get the Quaker Oats. It's a super trusted superfood.
He's all ball.
If I have a Gatorade
No
in the
oats.
morning, that's good for me for a breakfast.
That's accurate. Gatorade.
Same.
All right. Very nice.
You guys are both coming to my training class, okay?
Yeah,
Hey, that sounds fun.
and I'll pass out because I am not properly nutritioned.
Exactly.
So.
You gotta get your superfoods.
I'll just start my morning with Wingstop and Miller Lite.
Honestly, honestly. Yeah, I like that. Black Rifle
Miller
coffee
Lite
with
in the
Miller
morning.
Lite in the
Beamer.
morning.
We have
That
so
was
much
something
work
we
to do.
talked
I'm
about
really wake up.
previously.
I'm gonna really wake
So
up.
much work to do in here.
All right. Speaking of work to do, we had a fan picker on Friday. It was Mike in New York. And Mike in New York always has the energy. He has so much energy that it wasn't just the fan pick'em segment on Friday. He's our first caller here on Talkin Cowboys on a Talkin Tuesday. Mike, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, Isaiah, what was that prediction on Friday?
Oh, he came out hot. I knew it. Hey, I had a bad week, Mike. I had a bad week.
As soon as I saw Mike's name on the list, I was like,
He's coming in hot. I knew it. I deserve it. I
I
deserve it. Hey, you know what? Hey, listen, that's why we make predictions. I had the bubble guts, but it just turned out to be air. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just air.
Mike, tell Cowboys Nation what Isaiah did on Friday.
Oh.
He picked against the Cowboys. He said, "Oh, the Patriots." He said, "The Patriots. They're gonna beat the Cowboys and blah blah blah." But yeah, it's all good though. So I don't know. I just, like I said, come into the couple of keys for the San Francisco game is obviously can't turn the ball over, and we got to stop McCaffrey. We got to shut him down.
Mike, thanks for the call as always. Fantastic.
Thanks
job.
for keeping me honest, Mike. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
I will say, off of the McCaffrey thing, this could be a good time to play them.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? Coming off of 4 tutties?
Yeah, because when you have the defense that the Cowboys has, you want them not to go in like the Arizona game where it's just like, we'll show up, it'll be fine. You want them to go in where everyone's talking about this guy coming off this monster game. Should he be considered for the MVP? You know, no running back's got an MVP since Adrian Peterson. Like, I just think that's sitting in there with them. Like,
little thing at the top of the list there.
I think they'll be very, very motivated, very, very locked in for McCaffrey. Now, is he still gonna possibly have a good game? Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best players in the NFL. That's gonna happen. It's not like you're gonna completely you're not gonna completely shut him down. But I think that there'll be full awareness and there'll be full focus on him to the point where it kind of makes me think, well, could this be a big Kittle game? Could this be a big Ayuk game or somebody that you're not focused on nearly as much because everybody's kind of looking at this McCaffrey thing. So
yeah, that's part of the
Isaiah's shaking his head though. He doesn't like this take.
No, I mean, this is a team you don't key in on players, right? You try to shut down the scheme, and the reality is the scheme has kicked your butt the last 2 times you've played them. That's the reality. It hasn't been what.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's kicked their butt.
Yeah, I don't think it's kicked their butt either.
I mean, average of what 21.5 points? Would you say that's kicking their butt?
I don't give a dog on what the score says. I'm talking about
it's
on the
2
line.
losses.
Yeah, it's 2 losses.
It's 2
and they
losses,
control the
for
line
sure.
of scrimmage.
I think of what happened.
Struggles have been more.
Yeah,
so
what happened
offensively.
Sunday is a butt kicking. If they lose to the Patriots, or if the Patriots win, by like a field goal or something like that, I don't look at that as a butt kicking.
But Dallas winning 38-3, that's
a
the
butt kicking. Absolutely,
yeah, that's the butt kicking.
There's a big difference there.
You guys are just looking at one aspect of the game. Y'all just looking at the stat line in terms of the score. I'm talking about physicality.
No,
who controlled the game physically?
I'm looking at the score because that's what matters.
Physically,
at the end of
who
the day.
controlled the last 2 times the 49ers played the Cowboys?
Yeah, and it's been in the trenches, and that's impacted them more so offensively.
Physically, you get your butt kicked.
Then if their butts were kicked so bad, then why wasn't the score more lopsided then?
The game is the game, but
the game is the game.
physically
It's
you can get
complementary
destroyed.
football, and I don't think they were destroyed in those games.
See, and I don't think this.
Hey, hold up. I'm not even going to be here on Friday, so I'll just tell you right now, I'm clearly picking the Niners, but at the same time, I do not think it's been butt kickings at all.
Have you felt good about your control of the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball against the Niners? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say
No. This
great.
is Scantron. Yes or no?
No.
That's getting your butt kicked.
But if you
a man on man, when you put them pads on, if you can't control another man from pushing you backwards, you get your butt kicked.
I don't feel like one possession is getting your butt kicked.
It's not one
on
possession.
Both sides has been fine. Like both of those games, 2021 and 2022, I think the defense was good enough to win those games in both cases. Offensively, I do not think so. I think you got your butts kicked offensively. I really do. I don't think this offense was nearly what it wanted to be in 2021, whenever it was one of the top scoring offenses in the country. And I don't think it was one of what it wanted to be, healthy, had their weapons, ready to go going into 2022. It wasn't what it wanted to be either. But defensively, this team was ready to play both times. They just didn't get that offensive possibility.
I'm sorry, but
you don't agree?
If they walk into San Francisco on Sunday night and only give up 19 or only give up 23 points, victory across the board. I feel like the offense can score at least 23 points. Now it's been the offense in the last 2 years that has been getting their butt kicked. You're right, but we were talking about the defense, and I don't feel like the defense has been getting their butts kicked.
Yeah, there's definitely moments in those games where I thought that the deciding factor was because of that. Like when San Francisco went down last year and scored, basically was the game-winning score. I definitely looked at it as like they manhandled the Cowboys to a certain aspect, but I kind of think if Dak plays a little bit better in that game, those 2 weeks in a row, seeing the way Dak played against Tampa Bay and seeing the way he played in that game, if you just give me Dak in the middle, they win that game.
If you think the offense had so much success against the Cowboys,
I know what blowouts look like. I've seen 3 of them this year.
Yeah,
it's not that.
The Cowboys
Arguably
defense,
4.
Yeah.
Cowboys defense in the past. I mean, without looking, I know you've got like stats up in front of you. Stop looking at. Stop looking at. It's over here.
It's not
Look at me.
stats.
Look at me. Look at my eyes. What did the stat lines look like offensively for the 49ers in that game?
I don't look at the stats.
I know you don't, but 10 carries for 35 yards for Christian McCaffrey. That's it.
Okay.
He had nothing there.
Okay.
Debo Samuel was 4 for 45. Kittle, probably the number one target in that game. This is the 2022 divisional round. Kittle had 5 receptions for 95. They have options. They have weapons across the way.
And how many of that 5 for 95 came on that Kittle play down the middle? Where he was
31.
being defended by Neville Gallimore, which,
31.
that thing should have been stopped. That should not happen.
Yep.
Also, go ahead and keep throwing balls at Trayvon Diggs like that and see how many of those he picks off. So
Yeah.
I don't look at them as like they just are so much better. They played on this higher level. Also, if they were really that much better, they probably would have one of those Super Bowl trophies off of these years.
They don't.
It's not that easy. Just in case you didn't know. There's a lot of good players, a lot of good teams that don't have Super Bowls.
Teams that are better than them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not.
All right.
They haven't been the best team in the league.
I'm just talking about the last few years, Dallas versus San Fran. That's all I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're going to be watching. They're going to go back and watch the film and figure out where did we lose the battles. And you're going to have to look in the mirror and say we lost up front.
How much do you think the play caller change factors into that? Just because, those previous 2 matchups, Kellen Moore's the one calling the plays. Now Mike's calling the plays. Like, do you see a major difference in way this game could potentially go compared to maybe those because of a different play caller? And because, let's be honest, I don't think we've seen, even through 4 games, everything that Cowboys are going to do.
No,
there's things that we saw at training camp that they haven't done yet.
Not even close to it. You're not, as I keep mentioning, you're not going to see what Dallas is capable of until you have your entire starting offensive line. Facts.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Until you get your starting offensive line and you get your running game going, you're not going to see half the things that Dallas can do. That's not the issue. But again, I'm going to keep stating it, right? Dallas took care of it last game. You have to win the physicality against San Fran because they physically want to beat you up.
Do you think this team can win it?
I got to see what the line looks like by the end of the week.
Okay. You guys see who's up front.
The Vegas line?
All right, let's go to Maurice in Tacoma, Washington. You're on Talkin Cowboys. What's up, Maurice?
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good up here in the rainy day, the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Go Dogs, go Dogs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm still repping Seattle. You see it. You see it on the hat.
You know it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, so I got a 2-part question. It's about Coach McCarthy and the play calling for the offense this week. Lately, he's been playing into our defense, which has been, conservative. Do you think he's going to play the same way against San Francisco, or do you think maybe he might try to attack them? And also, how would you play them if you was Coach McCarthy? I'll listen up.
Thank you, Maurice. Great question and a great segue, too, because we were just talking about the play calling. Nick, I'll start with you on this one. Where would you go?
So I want to start by saying through these first 4 games, with 3 of them mostly being blowouts, and one of them where they had to simplify, I don't want to say dumb down, but very much simplify the offense because of the situation up front against Arizona. They are throwing an offense out on the field in week 5 that I feel like personally is a lot different than what we've been seeing the first 4 weeks, just because they haven't had to reach so far deep into their bag. I asked offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer about that yesterday. I was like, does it feel like there's an abnormal amount of things that you still haven't been able to throw out on the field going into a week 5 compared to previous week 5s? And he gave a long-winded answer, but basically the gist of it was yes, for sure, and there's an advantage to that. But in-game adjustments, we'll have to play with those as things go on. Every game is different, blah, blah. But I feel like what they can put on the field offensively from the opening script specifically, they can run a play on that first drive that they have not run the entirety of the season, all the way going down, because they haven't had to reach that far deep into the bag. So that goes into Mike McCarthy's play calling for sure. What can he do to get guys open? What has not worked to get guys open against the San Francisco defense in the past? How much do you lean on that experience? And then how much do you lean on the things that have worked through the first 4 weeks? I think we're going to see a mixed bag of a lot of things, but I think, more than anything, we're going to see vertical play, finally. I think we're going to see some shots being taken.
Yeah, we saw a lot more of that in camp than we've seen so far from Brandon Cooks. So this would make some sense to bring some of that out. Also, CeeDee Lamb had the touchdown catch on Sunday, but it wasn't really this huge game from CeeDee Lamb. I would be stunned if the Cowboys found a way to win this game without CeeDee Lamb playing well.
What was the original question?
Do you expect Mike McCarthy to be a conservative play caller or an aggressive play caller? And then what would you do?
You got to walk the line, man.
A little bit of both.
You got to walk the line. I mean, obviously, this offense, you haven't shown. I don't even think they showed 30% of what they want to do on a weekly basis. To some of the points that Nick brought up, but I mean, at the same time, you can't come out and start trying out everything that you've wanted to work on in a game. You have to be able to have repetitions. You got to feel comfortable, because they're going to have their curveballs too defensively. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I mean, both teams have been saving up some stuff for this game. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Kyle, this game's been circled for a while now, ever since the schedule dropped. So teams have been literally putting some stuff away in anticipation for this game, because they know how competitive it's going to be. This is not a blowout game on either side of the ball. It's always going to be a close game. It's always going to be a super physical game. It's just one team's going to be more dominant than the other, and it just depends on who it's going to be, whether that comes from the physicality or whether it comes from being out-schemed. I don't think that either team has out-schemed each other over the past few years. I don't think it's been an out-scheming thing. I think it's come down to the physicality side.
Yeah, and just whoever wins the trenches, who's tougher. I mean, that's certainly going to play a factor into it. I mean, mentality-wise, it's one of those things that you have to play a balanced game too. And you talked about that just very briefly yesterday. We got a text from the 2x4, by the way, represent 254, asking about Dak Prescott. He said that after the game on Sunday, he was at the podium. He said he was peeved about about San Francisco. He said he was upset about it. He was emotional about it, and he kind of walked off the stage. It was right at the end of his press conference. And the 254 wants to know why it's any different than what the past has looked like for Dak. Why can't it be different this time around than the previous two? Because we're just talking about it. The offense was what let down the Cowboys in those two previous playoff meetings. Why can't it be different this time around?
I mean, you have a more experienced player who has history to be pissed off about. I mean, in the short, I guess there's a whole lot of other things we can kind of point to, but at the end of the day, you're talking about some of the best players in the world, literally. And everybody who's in this league is super competitive. And nobody wants to keep getting beat up by the same bully. That's what's happened here. The last two times you've gotten beat up, you gotten punched in the eye, and you've had to walk away and just go and take your bag and go home. And that's what they've done to you the last few times. So as a competitor, as a man, you're ready for that next opportunity. It's no different than you. Everybody who watches boxing or UFC, you get beat up by somebody 2 times, like, no, run it back. Run it back. Give me that third time. Well, let's go. Nobody gets beaten, mad, and just puts the controller down and walks away. Like, you're like, nah, give me another chance. And that's what this is. You have to wait another year for another chance, being that you're in different divisions. But that's what this opportunity is. That's why Dak was pissed off. Like, yeah, no, they've got us the last 2 times. Like, okay, you trying to get me there already? Like, all right, let's go. I'm ready for a game plan. Let's start watching film now.
To that question, I don't feel like there is anything different right now. Through 4 weeks, what has the biggest, I guess, inhibitor of these playoff losses been? Lack of offensive execution. And that's been the thing we've had to nitpick through the first 4 weeks, is offensive execution, especially inside the red zone. It hasn't been a problem getting down the field. No. None of us have questioned that. I think that's a little bit different if you're absolutely looking for differences and how things have shaped out the last 2 years. But I need to see execution before I feel good about going into a road playoff environment and being able to do what they haven't been able to do in the last 2 years. So my answer to that, I don't feel like there is anything different right now.
And I'll say to go back to the Dak press conference after the game, we have seen a little bit more of a chippy Dak Prescott this season with the media. It's clearly that he's motivated by the fact of he's got to get, well, one, it was the interceptions, leading the league in interceptions. That was the big thing. But then now it's also the Niners. They've been the one thing that has stood in his way from making the playoff run that he's capable of making. And I mean, I remember him on the podium after that game. I mean, he took the blame for that loss, for how poorly he played against the Niners. That just late in that game, that just was not like the Dak Prescott that we had seen. Heck, even the week before against Tampa Bay. So I'm sure he's feeling that. And to be honest with you, maybe the Niners just bring it out of him, because I'll go back to the game after they lost to the Niners 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the way he didn't immediately say that, like, the fans shouldn't have been throwing stuff at the officials was one of the first times where I was ever just like, oh, I can't believe Dak said that. And then Gap was given a chance to kind of follow up on it, and he still was just like, yeah, whatever, about it, and didn't say that, like, well, that's the wrong thing to do, to the point where, like a couple days later, he had put a statement about it, we shouldn't be, fans shouldn't be doing stuff like that. I was just kind of like surprised that he would even say that, but it just showed a little bit of just his frustration, which, if it's most players, wouldn't even notice that. But you're so used to Dak Prescott, been the franchise quarterback since 2016. There's this huge sample size, longest tenured quarterback in the NFL with their current team, and you almost never see him say anything where you're just like, whoa, Dak said that? So it is interesting how the 49ers have brought that out in him, because really, other than, obviously getting to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl, the Niners have been really the only team that have stood in his way. There's been the playoff losses to the Packers, don't get me wrong, but the Niners have definitely been that team for him that he hasn't been able to get past. So it'll be fascinating to see how he plays individually in that game.
Yeah, and he was so sharp this past week, too. I think taking that and building on top of it is going to be a completely different challenge for San Francisco. But he's coming off of a great game. He played well. See if he can kind of replicate that here in Week 5. All right, we have to take our second break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Troy in Philly and answer a couple more text messages. There are a ton of text messages, and they're really good. We could have a 2-hour show if we really wanted to. All right, when we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys. This segment of the show is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's also brought to you by the Fan of the Year, Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. Of course, Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Cheers, Isaiah.
Cheers.
Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, Chris Beam in the back. We've got Troy in Philly on the line. Troy, what's going on?
Hey, man, how you guys doing, man?
Doing great. Thanks for the call. What's on your mind?
Hey, first of all, John and Nick, you guys are a great addition to the show. Great to have you guys, man. I love the insights that you guys give.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. My first thing is I love the conversation around the whole butt kicking versus not butt kicking. I kind of agree with John and Nick on it that wasn't quite a butt kicking, but you got to keep in mind that Isaiah played in the league, and you got to be a different human being to play in the NFL. I mean, so I kind of see it. I see where he is with that. And then my other thing you guys kind of touched on about the offense kind of missing a little something. I kind of feel like you put something on the tip of your tongue and you just kind of something is missing. Something is not quite right. But I get the offensive line, and there's something that's not quite missing. There's something that's not quite right about that offense. And I'll be glad when they get it together. But Nick, you're going to love this one. When are they going to realize that you have your short yardage back on this team? When are they going to realize that? I mean, he's right there, and he showed it to him last week. He showed vision and a little bit of burst. He cut back. Like, this is your short yardage back. I wish they would just stop being cute and realize that this is your guy. And to the whole being bullied thing, I'd like to see them 3rd and 1 against San Francisco line up and just pound it with this guy. This is your short yardage back. I'll be glad when they finally realize that this is your guy and just use it that way. I'll hang up and listen to you guys. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Great call. Let's let Nick start this off.
Is Hunter Lipke the next Mike Allstott?
Yeah. I've been
Daryl Johnston.
Yeah, I've been trying to be very mindful about my Hunter Lipke bias on this show. Like, whenever we talk about him, I just kind of let the room breathe, because I know I appreciate him a little bit more than the average person, just because I love fullbacks. Like, that's just me. And this guy is not just a fullback; he's a versatile weapon. But now that I have the platform, shout out to this guy for being able to shout out to Troy for being able to bring this to the table. He's right. And I think there's a really good opportunity going into San Francisco with a Pro Bowl fullback on the other side of Kyle Juszczyk.
Now we're talking, baby.
A guy that we compared Hunter Lipke to as soon as he walked into the building, and he was like, I don't want to be Kyle Juszczyk, I want to be Hunter Lipke. Mm-hmm. He can have a chance to go be Hunter Lipke on Sunday night in San Francisco, especially if Rico Dowdle cannot play. Yeah. I think you have to turn up the notch on him. Give him those short yardage opportunities. Give him those pass blocking opportunities as well.
So you're saying Hunter Lipke could go into this game on Sunday and turn Kyle Juszczyk into Kyle Juszczyk.
Ooh.
I didn't say all that.
Ooh.
That's what I heard.
Because I love Kyle Juszczyk. Like I said, I'm a fullback.
You're a fullback
guy.
Who will be the better fullback by the end of their career?
I don't know. You can't ask me that.
I've got my scouting report for Hunter Lipke, fullback, North Dakota State, and right here, comparison. Who does it say right there?
Kyle Juszczyk.
There you go.
There's very few fullbacks that can line up in the slot, and I've only seen 2 do it in my lifetime at least. Kyle Juszczyk and Hunter Lipke.
The one thing I'll say about that, and I hope this doesn't happen for your sake, but I think this game's going to be close, and when the games have been close this year, which is only one, you just haven't seen as much of Lipke and Deuce Vaughn and then handoffs to Devontae Turpin. Like,
do you think they should see more of that even in a close game, though? Because that's been one of the fan questions, by the way.
Probably not. No.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I don't think you have to do. I don't know. Like, I guess maybe a play here or there, but CeeDee Lamb's healthy, Brandon Cooks is healthy, Michael Gallup's healthy, Jalen Tolbert keeps progressing. Like, the weapons are there. Jake Ferguson is coming off a really big game. Like, I think I don't want to take any of those guys off the field really in the biggest moments, because I think those are your best playmakers. I could be wrong.
Well, if Rico Dowdle cannot go, who's your change of pace guy?
Now that could definitely open up some Lipke snaps there.
That's what I'm thinking more so.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have more than 5 touches in a game. I'm just going to say that right off rip.
Yeah, I would say this.
Talk about a curveball. If they get into the goal line and put Micah at running back,
if they don't have Dowdle,
fighting for that,
that would make sense for sure.
Oh, this would be the game to do it.
No, it would not be.
Oh yes, I formation.
They would take
Lipke at fullback, Micah at running back.
Yeah, see, even if I have that in my bag, I'm saving that for
Playoffs?
January. Yeah.
Playoffs?
I'm not trying to. You kidding me? We're trying to win a game.
I want them to prepare for it.
This is interesting. From the 615, I haven't seen a question like this in a long time. But if the Cowboys win the coin toss, what should they do? Should they receive?
No.
Go on offense, or should they defer and put the defense on the field first?
I think they should go on offense. So why do you think that?
Ooh, see, there is some split here.
The defense is your best asset.
I don't disagree with that, but I think the best possibility is you having a drive that goes down there. Let's say it gets in the red zone, you score a touchdown, you have the lead. You want Brock Purdy to have to throw the football. That's your best chance to beat them. If they get out and they get a lead early, I don't love the Cowboys coming from behind. I just think that the way this team is built, I think it's best for them to have a lead.
I hear you. Yeah, that's a very valid point. But the reality is, it's most likely going to be a close game. And I don't think either coach is going to say this is going to be a blowout. So knowing that it's going to be a close game, most likely, I want the ball coming out to half.
It has been fascinating this year, though, because Mike McCarthy is Mr. Double-Double, where he loves the opportunity of going into the half, scoring, and then coming out. Mm-hmm. And so when they've won these tosses and then he's elected to receive, it's surprised me a little bit, but it also speaks to, like you said, the defense is their strength. So I'm
with Isaiah here, I think.
Yeah.
I understand both sides, but I think I would want the defense on the field first, especially on a Sunday night game on the road. Let's say the first half doesn't go great. You have an immediate opportunity to regain momentum in the second half. That's kind of look at it. Or they could pull a Charlie Strong and just kick both halves. Remember when he was the coach at Texas? They played UCLA at AT&T Stadium. This is like 2015, and he kicked to start both halves.
He had that much confidence in his defense.
No, I think they messed up the coin toss. I'm like 95% sure they messed up the coin toss. But
that was a controversy a couple years ago where it was the verbiage from Dak in a coin toss. Was that against San Francisco? When was that?
I don't remember if that was.
I vaguely remember something like that.
It was something with the verbiage of the coin toss where he said we want the ball or something instead of we defer or we will receive something like that.
Another factor in this game.
Can't remember which
factor
game
the last few times they played them is the 49ers have been more disciplined. They've had less penalties in both games. That was such a big part of that loss in Dallas was the officiating. It was that time where it was like the Cowboys had so many games where they had 10 plus penalties, and then even last year at San Francisco. San Francisco was a more disciplined team.
I want to ask all of these questions. I really do.
Let's go rapid fire.
You want a rapid fire?
Yeah, go.
Okay, let's say
go.
That one just says let's go Ducks.
Tough.
Wow.
Why would you even? Wow.
Danny J from DC says, does Rico's injury mean more Deuce time, or will that go to Malik Davis? Possibly.
Deuce. Oh no. Deuce. No. Deuce has been good for him.
Yeah, I think Malik Davis, but to Nick's point, I think Lipke could get some of those touches too. Yeah.
All right. Do you think Micah lining up over the center is putting him in harm's way, and that's why he's been more banged up in recent weeks?
No, he's an animal, and so sometimes he's gonna get wounded.
When Mike goes over the middle, it's one-on-one matchups. They're not putting him in to get washed.
Yeah, and I love that they move him around. I don't ever want to see him just line up in one spot.
Seneca says, do you think Rashard Evans would be a good option for the linebacker spot since he's now a free agent? To maybe pick up some guys.
That's a
free agency.
I'm okay with things at linebacker.
Cool with it.
I know nothing about linebacker. If they let go of Devin Harper on top of all the other injuries, and then how few linebackers they had on the initial 53, I know nothing about linebacker anymore with this team.
This one says inside the 10, just run Lipke. Pollard simply doesn't have what it takes to punch it in consistently.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with the backside of it, but I'm okay
like Isaiah
with
said,
Lipke.
if you have that full offensive line, I think you'll think differently about that.
Pattern or coincidence? Dallas has gone 12-5 the last 2 seasons. That's an average of 1 loss per month. Do you feel like that's the case again this year? No.
It's another year.
Completely different.
Really tough schedule too.
Which matchup is most underrated on Sunday night? From Howard in Virginia.
Underrated?
Yeah, underrated matchup.
Man,
IU
now we're getting into Thursday.
I like that.
Yeah, probably.
IU and Bland. That's a high flying matchup. That's not really a high flying matchup.
Yeah.
All right. And this is the last one I'll leave you with. If I could get a one shot here.
Oh, Jesus. Don't do it.
I'm doing it.
Don't do it, Beamer.
All right, here we go.
Don't do it, Beamer.
Somebody sent this in. That's just
damn.
Isaiah Standback on the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, it's a Topps Chrome. That's fancy.
It's a Topps Chrome rookie card.
Can I get a signed version?
Is that a refractor?
It looks like they've got it in the sleeve. They've got this thing covered up.
They should have it in the sleeve.
It's probably like 77 cents.
You got a refractor card?
He's that good. He got a refractor card.
Oh, man, I just snorted. That's how hard I laughed.
Should we tell them they're from the 407? Should we say if they send it in that you'll sign it and send it back to them?
Send it to Beamer.
All right, send
That's
it.
a good looking card. Seriously,
It is a good look. I'm gonna go back in my collection. I've got a bunch of cards.
I have some in the safe. You guys can have them.
Oh, I would love that.
That looks like that might be a training camp shot.
Yeah,
for practice.
Practice.
All the ones I have say sample on the back because they send them to me before they release them.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's kind of
cool. Yeah,
that's even more limited.
Yeah.
I like it.
Which also,
yeah.
Just open up the safe. Let's make this thing happen.
Really quick. That weird coin toss thing happened in December 2019 against the Rams. Dak had said. We want to kick it, but then followed it up with we defer to the second half, and the ref got confused. But they did not kick both halves.
Yeah, it sorted out by the end of it. But I remember in the second quarter, everyone was freaking out, like in the press box.
Yeah,
in the
it was a big story on TV too. Yeah,
TV, like everyone was like, "Is this what's about to happen?" And then it
as long as he didn't say, "We want the ball and we're going to score."
All right, that does it for us here on a Talkin Tuesday. Fantastic questions, guys. Great callers, great questions on the text line as well. Man, it's so much fun previewing this matchup. We're going to be back tomorrow talking about the Cowboys defense versus this San Francisco offense. It's going to look to try and kick the Cowboys' butt this week again.
Tonight.
A lot of film tonight.
A lot of film.
Hitting the film
all week.
Isaiah's going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to have this all figured out. We're going to have the game plan. These are going to be the steps to win the game.
It's going to be a great
Done.
game.
It's over with. And we're also going to hear some national storylines from John Machota.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Plenty more to come. For Chris Beam, for Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you tomorrow with more Talkin' Cowboys.